Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Kasha. On the internet, I go by Pinekonek or Dr. K, and I'm here to do the Booktube Newbie tag. I've been meaning to do it for a year when I started my Booktube, and now that I'm back at it, I figure what better time? So why did I start this channel? Great question. I was having a quarter life crisis. I feel like it's very generous to call the crisis you have at 27 a quarter life crisis because that does imply I will live until like the age of 108. Pretty sure I had it when I was 28, so the age of 112. I have a tendency to talk a lot and also go on those kinds of tangents, so if that's what you're looking for, you are in the right place. Fun and unique things. I have very little filter between my brain and my mouth, but I also have a PhD in neuroscience. And that's what defined me as a person for like my entire 20s. I'm a couple months shy of 30 right now. And I'm trying to figure out who I am outside of that. And one of the best ways to do that is to read a lot of books. I've always been a reader. When I was really young, I really wanted to be a writer, but I became a scientist. I'm also pretty like artistically inclined. I do a lot of different crafts. I really like to knit. And I really just like to talk about books, and I will talk about them quickly and excitedly, happily do so at you and in your company. What am I most excited about for this channel? Yelling at people about books. I would love to physically just like take some of the ones on these shelves that you see and just like hand them to you and be like, here is why you should read this. Or listen to you, ask me for recommendations, and I will tell you, here's like 3 books that are perfectly gonna suit you. I have read a lot of books in my life, but over the past three or 4 years, I've been reading over 100 a year, which feels like a lot. I can't do many more than that. I feel like that's my upper limit, is about that like 2-3 a week, 3 a week tops, really more 2 a week. So I've been reading about a lot of books, and people constantly ask me, oh, you read so much. What's some of like the best books you've read? Like, it depends. What do you want? And I want to tell people about like 5 different books, but people don't want to hear that when they ask me this question out of politeness. So because I have all these bookish opinions to share and can be quite loquacious about it, I decided why not film myself doing it and have it go to the dozens of people who might be interested in hearing that. So here I am. Why do I love reading? Very simply, exploring the human condition. I really struggled as a teenager in so many different ways, and a lot of it was loneliness, which I think is pretty common. Just that like adolescent sense of no one's ever felt the feelings I'm feeling now. No one's ever suffered in the way I'm suffering right now. And it was books that first made me see, wait, other people feel this too. It's not just me. And that was life-changing. That was nothing short of life-changing to 15-year-old me, to just realize that I'm not the only one thinking about certain topics. I'm not the only one having these difficult experiences. And like 15 years later, it seems so obvious, but when I was a child, this was so major for me. And that's always the perspective I approach books with. It's an honest, long conversation with somebody. And I don't always agree with everything I read. I don't always like everything I read, but I try to take away from it, try to take away something from it, because it's ultimately a deep interaction with the author or authors. So yeah, I want to read every day. I find it fantastic. I've been thinking a lot also about attention and focus and continually learning now that I'm out of school. I was in school for 22 years straight, believe it or not. That's how long it takes until they finally give you a PhD and kick you out. And I love learning, and I love listening to other people, and like books force you to fully focus and commit to a series of ideas, or to empathize with people who might not even be real people, and to empathize with with their thoughts, their feelings, their situations. I love books. I just love them. I own too many. Books are amazing. What book or series got you into reading? So I was a very bookish child. I was very lucky to be a very bookish child. I was encouraged in my household. So I grew up reading what I first thought of as the big 3 when I was little, which was Harry Potter, Narnia, and Lord of the Rings. I also dabbled in a lot of abridged classics that I now feel like I need to reread because I've read The Count of Monte Cristo, the 80-page illustrated version, not the 1,000-page version. You know what I mean? I read a lot of Agatha Christie as a child. I read a lot of Terry Pratchett as a teenager. But all in all, I was really the kind of kid who, like, people gave me books for my birthday and I was really happy about it. When I got money, I took that money to the bookstore. That was my joy in life. So lots of kind of different classic children's lit. And I just never really stopped reading. I just started reading different things, more sophisticated things, more grown-up things, less grown-up things, you know, all sorts. And I'm still just really exploring, trying to figure out what's out there, because I keep getting surprised and finding things that I was like, how did I not know this existed and how have I not read it yet? And I think that's one of the best feelings ever. What questions would I ask my favorite booktubers? How do you not feel stupid? Like, one, when you listen back to yourself talk and you catch all your own like speaking mistakes or stuff you meant to say and it came out completely wrong, or just things you didn't know about, or like having people correct you, how do you not feel insanely dumb? This is also just because I'm a recovering academic. I have a lot of imposter syndrome. So the way that I post videos is I just don't think about the implications that this is on the internet forever and everyone can see it at any time, and I've actually embarrassed myself. I try not to just not think about that. Is that the trick? Can you tell me, other booktubers, is that the trick to not feeling completely stupid while doing this? Please leave a note in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe or whatever it is I'm supposed to do for the engagement. I am not good at the algorithms thing and I will make jokes about it because I find it pretty absurd. What challenges do I think starting a booktube channel will be hardest to overcome? Well, I've had it for about a year now, and I've had to be inactive for a month or two at a time, a couple of times this year, due to life stuff, because this is not something that I can unfortunately prioritize. I really, really enjoy making videos and I enjoy talking about books, and I want to find a better schedule to be able to like schedule videos ahead of time so that there's less of a gap in when I put out content. But realistically, it's hard to do things regularly when they're not your job, they're not your basic life stuff, it's just a side hobby. But I really like it. So the biggest challenge, consistency. But at least I keep coming back. I'm gonna say that's a good thing. At least I keep coming back, and I want to come back more. I'm a tired human, I'm a chronically ill human. It's not always easy for me to be super consistent in my hobbies, but I'm doing my best. And that's why I'm here now, and that's why I'm filming this now. All shall be well, as they say. When did you start reading? About age 3, I want to say. I remember the first, well, this is like just a legend in my house, that the first full sentence I read was in an Asterix comic, because I learned to read in Polish off of Asterixes that my brother would read to me. I knew my letters, and that's when it clicked for me how the letters went one after the other. Polish is a great language to learn in because the letters have unambiguous pronunciations and they're all pronounced. English is a nightmare. I don't know how. I learned English a couple of years later, so I don't have much of an accent, if at all. I have a pretty standard Canadian accent, I'd say, but I learned English in kindergarten. It was not my first reading language. So yeah, I started reading around age 3, and like I said, I never really stopped. Like, my slow reading years were years where I read maybe 20 books. I didn't always keep track, but that's kind of how I've guesstimated. Like, I've always read at least a few books a month. That's just... It's just the way I function. I don't really know how to function otherwise. Where do you read? I want to avoid giving the "where don't I read" answer. I'm a really big fan of cafe reading. I love going to local cafes with a book or my e-reader. I really like reading in trees in the summer, which I'm starting to feel like I'm a little too old for, but it's so nice. Especially I live right by the river, so I can read in a tree overlooking the river. Like, what's better than that? Can I really be too old for that? It's amazing. I read pretty much every night before bed, snuggling with my cat, which is 10 out of 10. Like, when I get into bed and she hears the sound of pages, she comes running to come snuggle up on my chest here. and we read together. It's the best. I love her. Um, I'll read on the couch. I took notes and I wrote BU reading, and I have no idea what that means. Oh, bus reading. I like to read on public transit. It makes me feel like the main character. And or like I'm better than everyone else. I say that, but most of the time I'm actually just on my phone like everyone else. But now and again, I will pull out a book and be like, I'm cool. I'm a cool person reading on public transit. I got sidetracked. Let's go to the next question. What kind of books do you like to read? I got asked this at a party once and gave possibly the worst response that still haunts me to this day. And I said, oh, I mostly like literary fiction, which is accurate. I read a lot of lit fic. And the person asking me said, oh, what is literary fiction? Like, what makes fiction literary? And I explained, well, there's a difference between genre fiction that focuses maybe more on specific plots or tropes, while literary fiction focuses more on language, and there's not always a lot of plot. It's more about kind of linguistic choices, and it tends to be slower paced, more introspective. So this guy looks at me and he goes, that's the most pretentious thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, I see your point. I see your point, but the problem is that's actually what I like. I like lit fic a lot. I like translated lit a lot. I like different perspectives. When it comes to genre fiction, my favorite is probably either horror or sci-fi. I really like speculative fiction that doubles as social commentary. I will seek out all the little gems that are currently existing that fall under that genre. And when I'm reading nonfiction, I really enjoy like social psychology and sociology, mental health. I'm starting to get into nature writing. I'm also really enjoying that. But I tend to dabble. Like, it's pretty easy to convince me to read a book. To be fair, like, if you tell me what you liked about it and why you think that I would like it, there is a non-zero chance that I will pick it up within the next year. And that's a problem because my TBR is like nearly 300 books right now, and I have too many from the library at any point in time. And I have this situation behind me. It's a situation. Which leads me to the final question. What does your book collection look like? I don't know, kind of colorful. To answer the question, my book collection looks like a nightmare if I ever plan to move out of this apartment. Which at some point I probably will, and that scares me. The thought of parting with like more than half of these fills me with dread. I keep acquiring books. It keeps happening. I keep finding my way to like either free little libraries or used bookstores where people just books accumulate around me. It's a really good problem to have. It's a really nice problem to have. That's it. Those are the 11 questions that I found somewhere months ago when I was like, I need to finally do this tag. And then I was too sick to do YouTube for a bit. But now I'm doing this tag. And I've returned, and I rise once again like a phoenix from the ashes, as I tend to do multiple times a year. Be like, all right, we're back. And we're back for a month or two. Goes downhill, then comes back. But you know what? That's fine. What I've learned is I need to honor my own rhythm. I can respect my own rhythm, and I don't have to do stuff like everyone else does. Good lesson to learn right before you turn 30. Would have been better to learn when I was a teenager, but better late than never. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you got a sense of my personality and how much I love books. If this is your jam, please check out the channel. If you've already watched some videos on my channel, thank you. That makes me really happy because I really want to share my love of books with you. I need to yell at someone about it. I want to throw my entire bookshelf at you. For the purposes of feeding the algorithm beast, I would really like it if down below you could tell me, if you're an avid booktube watcher, what do you like about booktubers? What's something you really love that certain people do and that you wish people did more of? I'm currently still figuring out sort of the directions I want to take this channel in. I really like having TBRs. I really like having monthly wrap-ups. I've also really enjoyed just sort of filming myself having coffee and telling you about what I'm currently reading and what I'm currently up to and vlogging a little bit of my day-to-day life. But I am very open to ideas. I'm very interested in ideas. So What's something you enjoy? Tell me. It's good for the engagement. It's good for me. I might make a video for you. It's a win-win situation. I hope you have a really great rest of your day, and I hope you read a wonderful book really soon. Okay, bye.